Hey, Dennis Foster here with Focus Outdoors TV. We're on Lake Oahe here, the northern stretches of it, specifically out of the town of Mobridge, South Dakota. Well-known walleye area, the entire reservoir is for that matter. I'm personally here preparing for the Northern Lake Oahe Walleye Series Championship, which will be held in a couple days. Fortunate enough to have Brent Kimnitz of MoPro Guide Service and also the proprietor of the MoRest Motel right in town here joining me today to help us get on some of these fish and showcase the reservoir. And seeing we're on the topic, what do you feel is the state of the reservoir today? A little history, recent history, and where we're at.
Yeah, and Lake Oahe right now, I would say, is kind of in what I would consider a recovery stage. We had the famous flood from 2011 that entrained all of our bait fish, and also a lot of our walleyes actually went through our dam system down in Pier back in 2011, and stuff is starting to recover really well here. Our bait fish are back in big numbers. Our walleyes are starting to recover really well. They're good, healthy fish right now, and yeah, it's stuff's on a recovery. I wouldn't say we have a lot of big fish right now, but lots of fish. It's August and we're still catching fish.
Right, and that's a key point. A lot of folks think, gosh, you know, it's just terrible tough this time of year. It's not. If you're willing to put in a little work, maybe change tactics up a little bit, you'll find these fish, and we hope to showcase some of that today. With that, I've had enough chatter. Let's get after it.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
As we're getting ready to launch our boats, I noticed on Dennis's boat trailer he had the throttle latch. This latch will make your boat unloading and loading quick and easy. Before I knew it, we were on the water. Dennis was back up picking up Brent, and we were headed out into the Great Lake of Oahe. I'd hopped in the second boat with Greg Lemire. Greg's from Raymarine, and he was nice enough to come up and help us with this shoot. Greg has a wealth of information himself, as he's been a tournament fisherman for many, many years. Greg and I followed the guys in Dennis's new Lund boat. We noticed that we were going to pull into a bay, and in no time at all, the guys had their lines out and they're prepared to fish. And within 2 to 3 minutes, wow, they're into the walleyes. These guys knew what they were doing. As we watched our graph, it was very obvious that Dennis and Brent had figured out a pattern. The walleyes were hanging in 7 to 15 feet of water, and they're very consistent on hitting crankbaits of the lighter color. As the guys continue to catch fish, I thought this would be a great opportunity to ask Greg about some of the Raymarine equipment that he was using and that also Dennis and Brent were using in Dennis's boat.
Good morning, this is Greg Lemire from Raymarine. Today we have our new Axiom and we're on Lake Oahe searching for fish. This is our new Real Vision 3D. Alongside of it is our Side Vision. It's all in one transducer, very easy to install. Next to it is our predecessor, would be our ES series. So as your targets come in, they're going to come in as a sphere, a colored sphere. On the outside here, here's a fish here, here's a fish here on our Side Vision. So we can cover the whole water column 360. So we're always looking for new ways to find fish, but that doesn't necessarily make them bite, but it saves you a lot of time, effort, and fuel to increase your catch. All right, now you can see that we have a target on our regular sonar, and there he is right there. It's a red and blue target, so he's a good sized fish. And there you can see him again. He's on the right hand side of the boat. So now we just watch this side of the boat to see if we're going to get a bite. As we continue on, we're increasing our targets, and they're increasing at the same time on our Real Vision 3D. As you see these little swirls right here, these are swirls in the sand that the current has made. So all these white spots here are fish. So we can find just about whatever we need to do as far as structure. Here on the Side Vision, we have something like maybe a big tree stump or something. So that's the shadow of our Side Vision portfolio.
Midwest Gun Dog Kennels is your full-time gun dog training facility. For over 30 years, we've customized our training to fit each individual gun dog. We know it takes a well-trained gun dog to handle wild birds to make every hunting trip a dream trip. Let Midwest Gun Dog Kennels put excitement back into your hunt of a lifetime. Midwest Gun Dog Kennels, where experience equals excellence.
Dakota Pheasant Guide offers the best wild pheasant hunts from the glacial lakes area of South Dakota west to the Missouri River. Packages available include everything from self-guided to fully guided hunts. Book your bird hunting adventure now. Fishermen, iTime Promotions is your ticket to an enjoyable and successful day on the water. Call Dennis Foster for your outdoor adventure of a lifetime.
Well, as you might be able to tell, I spend a lot of time behind the shotgun. Whether it's at the clay target fields, sporting clays fields, doing exhibitions, or bird hunting, I always trust my shooting skills to the Rio elites. Not only for the lighter recoil, but as you can tell, the harder hitting, consistent patterns. These clay targets don't stand a chance when you shoot Rio elites.
No matter the size, age, or activity level of your best friend, you want a dog food that's natural, feeds great, and is full of all the goodness you demand. That's what we pack into every bag of Country Vet Naturals. Country Vet Naturals are just what the name says, natural goodness in every bag. We also make grain-free cat and dog food and treats. Learn more and find a dealer at countryvetnaturals.com. Country Vet Naturals, loved by pets, trusted by owners.
This is a secret.
Oh,
Oh, I want a lot of money off this. This is called shield do.
tell people why you double hooking.
Okay, the reason why I double hook it is because what happens with the crawlers in the warmer water, they want to stretch out right away. And what happens with a single hook is they want to spin, they want to rotate right away. And we like to have our crawlers in the Great Lakes area to keep straight. So once this crawler straightens out, this line will hook up and straighten out. And I've always found it a better way to catch fish. Morning. I'm a guy from the Great Lakes. My name is Greg Lemire from Raymarine. We set up our boats for a lot of trolling. We're noticed as trolling people in Michigan. We do very well trolling. We catch a lot more bigger fish trolling, and numbers are normally higher too, compared to live bait like a lot of people do in Wisconsin, Minnesota, and the Dakotas. So to save time, work, and energy in a boat, we discovered that we could use a servo motor with this unit here. It's made in California. It's iTroll. So what it does is it controls my little motor speed very accurately, because when you're using your cables on your shifter or your handle, it's up and down, so your trolling speed is never consistent, and consistency in speed catches more fish. Well, today we're going to do a little seminar on tuning your lures. Almost every manufactured lure comes out of the box is detuned because of the manufacturing process. They don't sit and wait and tune them through water. So I'll show exactly how to do it. Your lure will run at its proper depth and you'll catch more fish. So we'll put it out of the current from the motor, and as you can see, as you pull on it, it wants to come towards the boat. So what I want to do is this eye right here, I want to bend that in the direction I want the lure to go. So I want it to go out a little bit. So I just tweak it just a hair and then try it again. There, now you see it goes deep as it disappears. So it's perfectly tuned. And sometimes on some lures, if you catch a big fish or a snag, you should retune it again. And that'll give you your best action every time.
kind of want to show you folks, excuse me, something interesting. We've been having some really strange weather patterns. You can see I've got a coat on, and that ain't enough quite here. And we've come across all this debris in the water, and what it is, in the reservoir, it's actually rising. It's gotten up on the shore, the wind's pushing this way, and it's pushing all this stuff out. And look at all the birds up here feeding on all this. And we're going to take and just cruise around and look this over. That may hold some fish underneath that too. Very possible. We're just talking about the debris in the water. We look in side vision here. We can see this big ball of bait. We see it on the Axiom, which is cool. Shows it relating off to the left side just like it is on the side vision. We also see it on a more traditional sonar here way up high. And what I'm going to surmise is that's bait fish coming up and feeding on some of this stuff that's falling, drifting out of these mats of debris that all the birds were feeding on. So just something very interesting here. It may be something we may want to pull a bait up and run it really high and just see if we can't connect with a walleye up in that stuff. And now that we look here, now that I'm saying that, just kind of doing this on the fly, there are some marks up near that ball of bait. And that's something that I really enjoy with the Raymarine units, is the definition. There's no guessing games here. I mean, it's actually showing exactly what is going on there. Well, here's another observation. Aggressive little fish, and we're pulling 30 to 40 feet here, and this fish is absolutely, feel that, warm to the touch. Making more observations out here, and that's probably the joy of being an outdoors person, is just, you know, seeing what's going on, trying to figure these critters out. We were watching all the debris just a few minutes ago with a lot of smaller seagulls and different water birds sitting on top of it, and we can see them just picking little stuff out of there. And then we come across a pelican here and just made the observation there's no pelicans back there, so there must not be minnows or anything right up in that mat. Otherwise, those pelicans, obviously, as efficient as they are, eating fish, would be back there. So, well, I don't know how good he is, but he's a hard-hitting fish. Keep it on. I just got to come forward here to keep tension on. Little key there, you can see I was walking forward and probably out of the camera because I needed to adjust the motor quickly and trying to keep some tension on that fish. If you don't, they'll have a little freedom to shake their head, and quite often they'll shake the hooks. This feel a little better. Another thing too, people have trouble tangling lines, pulling crankbaits, is the angle of your boat. You notice I just straightened up there a little bit so I could keep going straight. And this lead core can really be a bugger getting into other lead core lines, and Greg's got a little shorty rod right beside me there. I wanted to keep out of his line. Seeing we're on tips, this lead core, quite often you'll need to tighten your drag as you're reeling a fish in. It's got a little bit of a slip to it. So there, I wasn't able to move the fish. I was slipping too much. I don't mind a little slippage. But once again, I didn't have enough tension on him. If he'd have wanted to make a run at me, I couldn't have kept up with it. Nice hook funny's twirling here. There we go. That's why it's awful flat. It may be one of our big crappies. I'm not sure what it is, but we've got some huge crappies in Oahe, and my God,
it's a crappie.
It's making me look good here. Just a nice crappie,
nice.
and they get bigger than this. Quite frankly, if I wasn't practicing for a tournament, I got tipped onto where there's some under some of the bridges to jig up. Just another fun species to me. Another reason to come out and see us out here in Lake Oahe. And quite often we catch a lot of these on accident, so to speak, when we're pulling crankbaits. And if you want to look at his mouth, they're not eating little plankton all the time. These guys are meat eaters. Nice little eater here. We're under some strange conditions with fronts coming through and rain, and I think we're about on the edge of it, but now we got some wind mixed in just for fun, and just kind of out here surfing along, pulling some lead core, pulling flat lines, snap weights, rolling plugs around, just kind of playing around, but finding a fish here and there anyway. Oh, come here.
is not a new line.
Yes, it is. A good one at that.
A big one.
Yes.
Here.
Thank you. Not attractive. One thing about these guys, you can get his tongue, they got teeth on their tongue.
Yep.
But they catch their prey. Yep.
And they're a mineral eater too.
They got teeth clear back in here on their tongue.
Midwest Gun Dog Kennels is your full-time gun dog training facility. For over 30 years, we've customized our training to fit each individual gun dog. We know it takes a well-trained gun dog to handle wild birds to make every hunting trip a dream trip. Let Midwest Gun Dog Kennels put excitement back into your hunt of a lifetime. Midwest Gun Dog Kennels, where experience equals excellence.
Dennis Foster here. I'd like to introduce you to the Dorado catch and release boat latch system. It's back the trailer into the water, pop the cord, and away we go. Once our day in the water is done, we simply roll the boat up onto the bunks until it achieves contact with the bow eye. It clicks securely into place. Away we go. We're exclusive partners with b2outdoors.com. That's where you're going to want to go and order your very own system. You can enter the promo code iTime Promotions and receive free shipping on your items.
Comes to dog food and treats, you want something natural. A dog food or special reward that feeds great, is made in the USA, and helps your best friend live a long and healthy life. That's what you get with Country Vet Naturals, natural goodness in every bag. And for those of you who want grain-free, we've got that too. Find a dealer and learn more about Country Vet Naturals dog food, cat food, and treats at countryvetnaturals.com. Country Vet Naturals, loved by pets, trusted by owners.
Hi everyone, this is Greg Lemire from Raymarine. I want to discuss a little bit about chirp. We're out here fishing in South Dakota, and one of the guys asked the question, what is chirp? Chirp is a 1 degree wide separation where it gives you a high definition. So it's a 1 degree wide beam that's square across the back of the boat, and what it does is it swings 60 degrees forth and back. And what that does is it basically builds a three-dimensional picture on a one-dimensional screen. So if I was standing like this is what you're going to see on the screen. You'll see everything, all the outline of myself. Some of the departments use it as search and rescue, location for people who have drowned it. Recently, last summer in Chicago, they found a person laying on the bottom in 80 feet of water, and they could pinpoint his exact location because of his shape. So it's a very, very strong signal. It's very good to use. It doesn't give you an arc like traditional sonar. What it does is it gives you a real picture. So when you're looking at vegetation compared to trees, it tells you everything that you need to know. So it changes your fishing by what you're looking at. So instead of big tall cattails or weeds or something like that, it's trees. Well, fish like trees better than they like weeds. So that's why we really like chirp in the Great Lakes area or any freshwater system.
Notice what we're doing here. I'm just bringing that heavy snap up to Greg, and then he can unsnap that for me. Just finish him in. A little nicer fish. Here's something really interesting.
with somebody else's line.
Yeah, I'd caught somebody else's poor line, not a presentation option I did by design by any means, but didn't seem to slow him down. We'll take a quick look at this fish too. It kind of, boy, they're strong. Shows you the health of the reservoir. They're just chunks. For no bigger than he is, I mean, just rock solid. We're getting bait back in here in Oahe in a lot of different forms and smelt that we were known for at one point. A lot of gizzard shad, lake herring, in these upper reaches, northern reaches, a lot of young of the year, whatever, whether it's sheephead, white bass, crappies, perch, you name it, they're keying on in a lot of back bays. But just, it's good to see these fish, and we're in great shape. The next 5 to 10 years, this fishery is going to become phenomenal. Weight off. Hey, I'm going to talk him into being bigger. Watch this.
Yeah, I used to do that.
He's an inch bigger already.
Then I get him home and do 8 pounds.
Yeah, it's my story.
Yeah. I'll put it down.
There you go. I thought I'd been saying the right word. Must only been an inch when he started if I grew him that much.
The other one fell off and that one
That's it.
that one jumped on.
Ooh, a sauger. Haven't had
There
one
we
in a
go.
long time.
There's a sauger. Oh,
That's why he gets so aggressive.
This is a saugai. This is a saugai.
Fire.
It's a really beautiful fish.
Yeah,
there.
well marked. Yep.
Let's see, get on some kind of background so you can see the camera there. You see all the dots on their fins like that? They're a little more aggressive on the dorsal fins.
You were talking about the dark spot on the back and the walleyes. And,
yeah, and so why it's not a sauger is because it doesn't have the more stripes on it. It's more blotchier, so it's half walleye and half sauger. So it's called a saugai. Very aggressive.
First
fish.
one I've caught out here in some time.
Really?
Yep.
These are, and they weigh more per inch than the walleye.
Because they're more muscular.
They're very,
solid.
very solid.
Yep,
fish.
they fight a lot harder. Yep.
Cool.
Interesting. Good.
Now you just got to catch a blue one.
There you go. Oh yeah.
Great fish.
Yeah, it is. Good job. Kind of interesting here. Just something to note on what we're doing. We've been pulling upstream in what we felt were pretty darn good spots. So by God, we picked up, just went directly north. Obviously the river runs south, and thought we'd pull downstream and see what that would do for us. And actually just got line sat in the rod holders, and lo and behold, we pick up a decent fish here. We get Greg to untangle him. We'll even let him show us the darn thing.
We'll let it go like that.
Oh!
Today.
Greg's only been doing this for 50 years, so it's new to him.
Old hand.
Well, good job. By God, we may be on something. Get him, well, by God, put him in the live well. We may play with him for a minute and maybe even eat him, and we'll get back at it and see if we can't find a few more.
All right, thank you, Dennis.
Something interesting here, you'll note that this fish is not on the crankbait, and that is by design. We've actually run, for lack of a better term, a sort of a fly back behind here, and basically what it is, it's a very small hook, and it's probably 1.5 inch power bait, just a little paddle tail bait that we've ran behind there. And a lot of times these fish will follow these lures, and they may not be willing to commit to the whole lure, but by God, they'll take something small. Another added observation is it's flat calm out here. We've been seeing some dimpling on the surface, and what it is, there's huge carp, and they're coming up and they're slurping something off the surface. We don't know what it is, but if they're doing it, I guarantee you these guys are, and this may imitate a mayfly or whatever the heck that they are eating. But it obviously works, and it's a tough day, flat calm, some cold front conditions here after several storms, and just little tiny things, if you're willing to pay attention, can help you scratch a few fish out of an otherwise tough day. Okay, we're going to go a little
bit more in depth on a discussion on the system that we're just playing around with here. And we're running a fly type leader behind these crankbaits. And in this case, it's just a little bitty power bait, paddle bait. But by God, you can see what that crankbait does to that thing. It's just working the heck out of that. And that's a real key. And you'll find on tough days that you're going to pick up a few more fish, and don't think it's just for picking up little guys either. I've seen it time and again. Well, they'll pass up that great big lure and they'll slurp down that little bait behind there. And there's a lot of things you can use, whether it's a little twister tail body, little tube type grubs will work, even taking a small slow death hook, maybe putting a small 0.8 smile blade ahead of it, and just a little nub and a crawler will work. But it's something, you know, a guy gets into a rut on these fish and you think, by God, they're just not biting. That's not the case. Be willing to open your mind, and you'll end up opening your live well in the process. One thing interesting to note is the reservoir is absolutely full of these little guys, which bodes well for the next several years. We're going to have some good fishing for years to come here. There you go.
Tournament fishermen launch their boats a lot in a year. They want it to be quick and easy. The Dorado latch makes it so. Whether putting the boat on the trailer or taking the boat off the trailer, the Dorado latch is the right equipment for the job. Focus Outdoors would like to thank Brett and his family for their hospitality. The Mo Rest Motel is clean and quiet. The Mo Rest sits right on the main drag of Mobridge, South Dakota. It's a perfect place for the outdoorsman to stay when visiting Mobridge. Find me a dirt road and get right in the groove. Let these chains of life unwind till I get loose. I wanna roll down a window and reach out and touch the reeds. And let that crazy world out there go on without me. It's like that river only knows one way to flow. Ain't nothing gonna change me, so I've got a dirt road soul.